Okay, so as more people are starting to come forward and speak up about the ways they've been harmed by neo-advaita and in general modern non-dual teachings that teach permanent ego dissolution as the road to the end of suffering and liberation. And one of the big themes that I keep coming across from among hundreds of people who I've already been hearing from is, for one, of course, the ways that their abilities to relate to other people is really impacted in a negative way. And I think one of the big blind spots and something that's really not talked about a lot is how these teachings and involvement in it actually have a really harmful impact on family relationships, on parents, on children, on marriages. And one interesting thing to consider with this is one, how a lot of these Eastern no self or liberation teachings, a lot of them were initially not intended for householders, but more so for renunciates or monastic lifestyle or ascetic lifestyles. And one of the sort of predicaments that it seems like we're coming to right now is having those renunciate paths being appropriated in the West to being taught indiscriminately to an audience of many householders. And I think we're starting to really see some of the disastrous effects of this. And I wanted to read a quote from a father who shared with me a bit about what he experienced. And he gave me permission to read this quote. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and read that now. So I could have these deep no self, no doer, pure awareness type experiences where I'd even let go of the one that wants to say, yes, I've got it. But every time it was like Robert had to come back eventually to be able to relate to my family. I just couldn't stay as pure awareness, pure spacious awareness, without somehow being detached from my family's struggles or pain. It felt like there was this choice to stay with my family emotionally and physically or leave them permanently, like many of these enlightened folks seem to do. All the teaching said it was possible to stay physically, but not keep being so affected by all the drama of family life. But for me, this just seemed impossible. I just couldn't have the empathy my family needed and keep the personal Robert at arm's length. It was like I could feel the moment Robert grabbed the reins again. So again, I'd practice, take it on the chin as another lesson, and aspire to let go of him, and hopefully one day forever. It was like permanently being at war with a non-existent person who just feels so real. It was exhausting. It became the source of most of my suffering in the end, on top of the usual suffering of normal life. I couldn't stop being me and also be a dad, a husband, etc. So I think that gives a really intimate depiction of what's happening. And it's certainly, he's not the only one. Like I said, I've been hearing from hundreds of people, and a lot of them are describing similar things. So I hope that this is eye-opening and will open up some conversation about the ways that people are being harmed today by the appropriation of some of these more traditional liberation teachings that are based on getting rid of or on ego death, getting rid of that sense of a separate individual self in order to be free from suffering.